One aspect of Smash Bros. Predictions that are commonly overlooked are stages. Personally, I've been a huge fan of the stages. However, predicting what stages are going to be in the game past what game that they're taken from is kind of hard. I mean, for example, nobody could have predicted that Orbital Gate Assault would have been in Smash for Wii U. I mean, somebody could have predicted, oh yeah, it's going to be a Star Fox Assault stage, but nobody's going to be able to go and say that it was going to be Orbital Gate Assault. Like, that would have been a shot in the dark. So for my first video predicting Smash Bros, I'm going to be looking at stages, more or less the returning ones, because, like I said, it's kind of hard to predict the new ones. And I kind of, like, I think I might know what they're going to do for the returning ones. I might be completely wrong. So I'm going to go over how many stages were in each previous Smash game. 64 had 8 stages, 1 unlockable stage, making 9 total. Each series, aside from FZERO and Earthbound, each series got a stage. Mario even got 2 because, you know, he's the mascot. He gets 2. He gets, you know, he gets the new one based off of the exciting new 3D Mario game, and he gets one based off the old 2D game. You know, here we go. It's the 2D game one. There were no returning stages in Smash 64. Melee had 27 stages, which is a pretty significant upgrade. It's 3 times the stages from the previous one, but it also had 3 returning stages from Smash 64. With Mario being the only exception, every single returning series gets 2 new stages. Moving on to Brawl, Smash Bros. Brawl then had 29 new stages and 10 returning. Of the 29, there, unlike Melee, were not 2 per franchise. Instead, it was sometimes 2 or 3, and sometimes only 1. For example, certain series like Zelda and Metroid got 2 new stages, and some series like Mario got 5. Moving on, Super Smash Bros. 4 by far has the greatest new and the greatest returning stage roster, and this is one of the most interesting ones, but almost one we can't look to when predicting Smash 5. One of the greatest reasons is because, unlike the character roster, the stage roster had a lot of padding because it had to be doubled to support both different versions of the game. Basically, where the character roster of Smash 4 only had to be one roster that could work on both different versions, the 3DS and the Wii U version, there had to be 2 separate stage rosters. For this reason, a lot more returning stages had to return to make it so the roster felt full on both different versions. Where on certain versions, it seemed like series like FZERO or Earthbound didn't even get a new stage, where on the other version, it may seem like Star Fox and Metroid didn't even get a new stage. Of course, if this were one game, you could probably expect from most series to have gotten 1 new stage and 1 or 2 returning. In total, Smash 4 had 45 new stages, which is a huge jump from the 29 in Brawl. Similarly, there were 27 returning stages in the game. This was also a huge step up, almost tripling the number of returning stages from Brawl. In total, there were a total of 72 stages in both versions, which is absolutely insane. I'm almost certain that Smash 5 will not have a higher or even the same number of stages as Smash 4. Something even like 60 or 70 just seems way too high for one game. Okay, so I'm just gonna say all the returning stages that I think will be back. Mario Galaxy, Luigi's Mansion, Jungle Hijinks, Skyloft, Temple, Brinstar, Halberd, Yoshi's Island, Corneria, Pokemon Stadium 2, Onett, Mute City from Smash 3DS, Summit, Coliseum, Flat Zone X, Skyworld, Garden of Hope, WarioWare Incorporated, Duck Hunt, Town and City, and the infamous Wii Fit Studio, everyone's favorite stage because it has mirrors and you could see yourself 2 times. You know, it's like Fountain of Dreams, but better. So now that we have all that out of the way, let's talk about the new stages that I think will be in the game. Now for Mario, I think the big stage everyone is anticipating is New Donk City from Super Mario Odyssey. Of course, we will probably see the stage, and I think people will be more surprised if we don't than if we do. But some of the stages that I think people aren't anticipating as much that I think do kind of have a shot are stages like Super Bell Hill from Super Mario 3D World, or really any stage from Mario 3D World, and a stage from Mario Kart 8, more specifically one that was advertised more or less in the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe trailers and promotional material, specifically Rainbow Road from the N64 version of Mario Kart. Another game that came out after development of Smash 4 began was Super Mario Run, and I feel like we could definitely see a stage based off of that game in Smash for Switch. I feel like having a gimmick similar to that of Rumble Falls would work really well, where the stage is moving really fast and you have to kind of like goal before you get cut off by the edge. Another stage based off of a stadium from a sports title would make a lot of sense too, since those games are very popular and yet very underrepresented in Smash Bros. The two most prominent Zelda releases after development on Smash 4 began, and after development on Smash for Switch began, were Breath of the Wild and Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. Of course, we did see some Link Between Worlds content in Smash 4, however, it was far and few between and obviously a very last-minute decision. Because of this, I feel like we will definitely see something like the Great Plateau from Zelda Breath of the Wild, but I think we'll also see a stage based off of the Light and Dark World, or Low Rule and High Rule, from A Link Between Worlds. This stage could obviously have a really fun gimmick, changing the layout slightly to reflect High Rule and Low Rule. We saw levels in the Subspace Emissary based around the concept of a Light and Dark World, even with the Dark World music in it, to make it allude even more to the concept of the Dark World from A Link to the Past. So, I feel like a stage like this is very likely in Smash for Switch. For Donkey Kong, I think seeing Juicy Jungle from Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze makes a lot of sense. It keeps that typical jungle theme in Donkey Kong, but also brings in a very unique aspect, being the fruit. For Metroid, I think seeing Planet SR3D8 from Samus Returns makes a lot of sense, as that was the most recent title in the series. For Kirby, I think seeing something from Kirby Superstar makes a lot of sense. The Halberd and Great Cave Offensive were both from that game, and it feels like Sakurai just really enjoys pulling from that. Of course, it doesn't mean that that is the only game that he will ever pull from, but I think maybe seeing something based off of the Dinoblade stage, or even Milky Way Wishes, wouldn't be incredibly unlikely. For Yoshi, a stage based off of the Cardboard Yoshi game, or even another one based off of Yoshi's Woolly World, makes a lot of sense, since the game was recently ported to the 3DS. For Star Fox, I think seeing a stage from Star Fox Zero, specifically Sector Gamma, would be really awesome. I haven't actually played much of the game, but I have seen footage, and Sector Gamma looks like a stage that has a lot of potential for some really unique gimmicks to take place, and I really do think that Sakurai would have a really good time making a stage based off of that level. For Pokemon, I think there could be a stage called Pokemon Stadium X. This would combine both transformations from Pokemon Stadium 1 and Pokemon Stadium 2 into one stage, much like Flat Zone X did in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. I could also see a stage based off of Sun and Moon, specifically the Altar of the Sun and Moon. Of course, this would be very similar to the likes of Spear Pillar or the Unova League from Smash 3DS and Smash Brawl, respectively. For Earthbound, I feel like Saturn Valley would be a great choice, and for F-Zero, I feel like a stage like Red Canyon or Sand Ocean would be great choices for that series. For Fire Emblem, I think another castle stage similar to Castle Siege would be a really great choice. Now, even though I do think the Castle Siege was a great level, I feel like making a new one reflecting on more recent titles would make a lot of sense. Of course, it would still be a more generic level representing all corners of the franchise. However, I do think making a stage that aesthetically does call back to more recent games makes a lot more sense. For Pikmin, I feel like a stage from Pikmin 4 or maybe even Pikmin 3 would be very likely. It depends on how far Pikmin 4 was in development when development on Smash Switch had begun. For Kid Icarus, I feel like another stage based off of Uprising would be very likely. For WarioWare, I feel like a stage based off of a microgame would make a lot of sense. Maybe something similar to Gamer, where the entire stage represents the main theme of that microgame, but I haven't played enough WarioWare to get a really good feel for what microgame or what minigame they would choose. For Punch-Out, seeing a second boxing ring would be really cool. I feel like reusing the old one would seem kind of cheap. I feel like making a new one with some new gimmick or some new layouts would be really, really interesting. For Animal Crossing, I feel like a stage just titled Town Festival would be a really smart idea. Festivals are a huge part of that game, and I feel like having a stage that kind of reflects that would be really cool. For Xenoblade, obviously a stage based off of Xenoblade X and a stage based off of Xenoblade 2 should totally happen. For some of the other stages, as in stuff that isn't exactly related to other franchises, I could totally see a stage based off of 1-2 Switch, a stage based off of the Nintendo Labo, and a stage based off of Snipper Clips, very likely. I feel like for Pac-Man, we could definitely see a stage based off of another Namco game such as Galaga, as Pac-Man tends to represent more than just his series alone. For Mega Man, I feel like a stage based off of an action stage, such as Metal Man, Flash Man, or Heat Man, would make a lot of sense. Another Wily Castle stage from another Mega Man title would also make a lot of sense. Lastly, for Sonic, I feel like a stage based off of Sonic Forces would probably happen, as much as I wouldn't really want it to. City Heights does seem the most likely here, and at least visually it does look kind of interesting, but I assume many others would probably much rather have a stage from Sonic Mania. However, seeing as Sonic Forces is a bigger budget game from Sega, they probably want to sell more copies of it, so I feel like a Sonic Forces stage is just more likely for that reason. And that's all I have to say right now. Thank you so much, by the way, for watching, if you got this far. It does mean a lot to me. Just knowing that you just knowing like that people have seen this, if people did see it. Yeah, if you like the video, I mean, definitely subscribe. It's to get more, clearly. Also comment, yeah, like any criticisms, any things that you would suggest I do better, or things that you really liked about it. I really do want to know what I could be doing better. I'm not planning on really doing that much more with YouTube, but I mean, I think expressing my thoughts is just a nice way to like give me something to do. But yeah, I also apologize for like the lack of like footage I can get myself. I was limited really only to like using emulators like Dolphin for a lot of it, so I had to resort to trailers and stuff. But if I could ever get a capture card, that would be the optimal way, obviously. And also it's harder with Smash Bros. Because Smash Bros. Stuff, because I'm talking about like so many different games. It's like I have to like really pull from like, you know, from like everywhere, so it's harder. But yeah, thanks again for watching. I also want to shout out. I also want to give a shout out to Smash Flash, Super Smash Flash 2, because a couple stage ideas, like specifically Saturn Valley and Sand Ocean, were totally inspired by those guys. I wouldn't have thought of that probably without them. Definitely check them out. And yeah, thanks again for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more Smash content. I'll probably post some like dumb shit posting. You know, joke stuff too in the future, especially if you guys like that. There's a couple other dumb ones on my channel right now. You can watch and hopefully hate because like they're not that good. But yeah, also just have a great night, please, or have a great evening, have a great afternoon, whatever. And just kind of chill, you know. I hope you had fun watching this video. See ya.